past I left behind. I'm looking for answers, but I'm blinded by the light. I'm lost in the music, can I stay here for the night? I promise I'll be gone in the morning, out of sight and out of mind. No blind, out of sight and out of mind. No when you keep running, but your legs are standing still. It's like you're stuck in a nightmare, but you're for the thrill. Well, this is reality. You so wake up from the minds get blurred. Let your thoughts be free. Let your thoughts be free.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the latest Elite FPL stream with myself, Stevo, and Dan. He'll be joining me in 2 minutes. Yeah, welcome, everybody. It's a double game week 35. It's a double game week I'm not particularly excited about, even though I'll be taking a minus 50. No, it's a game week I'm really not excited about, but myself and Dan will be discussing all ahead of this particular double game week. We'll be doing our usual chit chat about how the fact I'm catching him up and the fact that I will be overtaking him at the end of this season, the fact that Jason's now completely out of the title race between myself, Dan and Jason, and Cy Bellamy. If you're watching this, I will be catching the same as Dale, his brother. We had an extraordinary game week that's just gone by. Many free hitters doing exceptionally well. Shout out to Dread FPL, who got 165 points with his free hits. Absolutely outstanding, Mr. Simpson. Absolutely extraordinary for what he did on that particular free hit, along with many others getting 100 plus or so, unlike Jason. Although, we'll get onto it in a minute with Dan. Last night's game, where, of course, as I called it, Kevin De Bruyne and Foden will be coming through probably with double-digit hauls, and that's exactly what happened. Other than that, we will be obviously looking through the chat and see if there's any interesting talking points that people want to discuss. Just quickly say hello to a few people that are there at the moment. Andrew Ferguson, Fire Talk, Matthews, Aishi and Connor, because no one else wants to talk. And what I will be saying is this. Tonight, I will be writing down people's names. I'm going to start writing down the people's names who are actually contributing to the show, because then that gives me an idea of exactly who I can have in the YouTube chat league next season. So then no one can complain at that point. No one can say, well, you know, I used to come here every single week. Did you comment? No. Did you say anything in the live chat? No. Well, fuck you then. It's quite simple, really. Good evening, Dan. He's gone. Brilliant. So I'm going to continue. It's brilliant, isn't it? The second you're about to speak to Dan, he's gone. Last week, actually, Dan, if you remember, he was on Sunday surgery and he basically he vanished. Right at the end of the stream, I was going to speak to him and he vanished, and it's because his phone battery died, but he's back again. Dan, are you with us? Come on, Dan, speak. You are live on Elite FPL. Please swear. He's clearly having issues at the moment. I don't know what those issues are. I've put a poll up in the chat. It's just essentially, how many double game week players are you going to own this week? Is it 1 to 2, 2 to 3, or 3 to 4, or 4 plus? Steve-O, you just done this 10 seconds ago. Yeah, I know. I'm fully aware I've just done it before, but I forget what happened 10 minutes ago. But yes, I've put that poll in the chat. I'm going to have 3. It would be Palmer, Son, and I'm probably just going to go with what my gut said, which is Johnson. Now, by pure coincidence, I've literally just seen, and I don't know why, Eze's flagged. I don't know why he's flagged. I didn't see anything regarding team news, so if anybody in the chat wants to let me know why Eze's been flagged, is it precautionary? Is it just something that the manager came out and said, and it's just made the Premier League website go, oh my God, better put out a knee? Well, according to the website, it's a knee injury. But the original plan was to get rid of Eze. I've already got rid of Salah for Son, so you know what's going to happen there, don't you? Salah's going to come through with a double-digit score, and Son's going to do nothing. Yeah, I was going to be bringing in Johnson for Eze. That was the plan. It was either going to be Eze, Havertz, or Havertz. But because of Tottenham's high line, I'm just going to stick with Havertz this week. The team is going to be, from my point of view, Pickford in goal, Muniz, Gabriel, Ait-Nouri, Johnson, Palmer, Son, Havertz, Saka, Isaac and Solanke. They'll be my 11 that I'll be fielding. But Dan, are you back with us? Dan, if you can hear me, just WhatsApp me. In fact, he may have already WhatsApped me, but the strange thing is it doesn't come automatically through my laptop. So what I'm going to do is deliberately grab my phone, which I've got on charge, annoyingly. Got on charge. Hold on a minute, he's messaged. Let's see what he says. What's going on? That's what Dan is saying. I don't know. Your best bet, Dan. In fact, I'll just voice message him. If this decides to... your best bet is just to reconnect, disconnect. I don't know what is going on, my friend. Unless I've muted him. But I won't have muted him because I don't need to mute Dan. Yeah, very, very strange indeed. Let me just click on his name here. Nope, everything's fine. Dan, are you... In fact, let me just message him here. If you do it through speaker. Just do it through speaker, Dan, maybe. Maybe that's the case. Basically, Dan's just keeps going on and off, and it's definitely not battery issues here whatsoever. Fucking hell. It's amazing how when you put out a threat... It's amazing that, isn't it? It's amazing how you put out a threat about not putting people in the YouTube chat league, people then decide to chat. It's funny that. Well, I know exactly who... I know exactly who I will be... for God's sake, man. That's completely put me off now. Brilliant. I know exactly who I'll be adding anyway. Odin, that's a name I have not seen for ages. Is that because you're doing well at the moment? Paulie saying, finally a night of work to tune in. So you'll be tuning off now then. Connor, didn't even know there was a double game week this week. But the match, how are you getting on anyway, Connor? In the chance to become bottom of the whole game. Is it going well? How's it actually coming along in that particular notion there? Kieran, I've just seen your post on X regarding the Total Steeler podcast, and I've literally just recorded one in the car. I don't like revealing who the bands I've played in it are, but it's one particular band that should bring you back some nostalgia. It should do. But yes, there is a double game week, Connor, for this particular. It's Tottenham and Chelsea, and basically you don't want to be going out your way to waste your time doing stupid moves like people like me. Good evening, Lee. Colm saying, I'm thinking of doing a -4 or -8 this game week. Darwin to Hoyland, and maybe Saka, Salah, Eze out for Gordon, De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, do it. I didn't realise how close I was to you in the mini leagues, Colm, considering you consume as many podcasts and streams as Harbour Boy does. Harbour Boy's 840th in the world, and yet you're about as pathetic as me. It's great, isn't it? Kyle Wells, I do not recognise the name as ever. If you are brand new around here and you enjoy the content myself and Jason bring to you, by all means hit that subscribe button. It'd be nice if people actually did subscribe. That'd be good. Only Ray understands that. Who did you get Sun in for? Well, I've already said that. Salah. Reasoning for Sun cap over Palmer. I just think that I think Tottenham's got a better opportunity to winning both games. I expect the game against Arsenal. Well, Aston Villa away is a horrible fixture, and Tottenham at home. And then that's the analysis you're going to get from me. Yeah. And then Sun at home and Chelsea. Sun at home to Arsenal and Chelsea away. I just think he's going to do all right. That's it. That's literally it. Andrew Ferguson, the man that seems to be doing exceptionally well in the world of score predicting, and I mean exceptionally well. He's like 1,000th in the world at the moment, which is just absurd. And yeah, he has done a -12. I have no idea why. Let's see what he's done with this -12. Neto, Udogi, Salah out. Petrovic, Poro, and Gordon in. Oh, Neto is in the Bournemouth goalkeeper. Oh, right, okay. For Petrovic. Right. Poro. Yeah. Gordon. Yeah, good move. Good move. Who do you think the better captain option out of Foden versus Forest or Bruno versus Burnley? Bruno versus Burnley. Easy. Foden got his double-digit return yesterday. It's simple. He got his double-digit return. He never gets things away from home. It's really weird. Foden never seems to get, apart from last night, gets double-digit. It's very rare he gets double-digit scores away from home. Fire Talk saying, I'm on 5 double game weekers this week and Gusto on the bench. So I'm guessing you've gone with Son. There'll be Poro, Jackson, Palmer, and do you mean you've got 6 and you're benching Gusto? Is that what you mean, Fire Talk? According to animations and Stanza, as they got a knock against Crystal Palace. Okay. Eze is questionable for tomorrow. He has a problem with his knee. Crystal Palace manager said that he, in the press conference on Friday, we will decide tomorrow if it makes sense, if he does. Nuka Atoms, he sent me a YouTube video of something regarding podcasts, and I'm assuming the YouTube video is quite simply about, based on what Nuclear Atom said about what podcasts are like. I've already seen Nick from FPL Juice posted up one of the greatest parodies of podcasts I've ever seen. It was by some comedian, I forget his name, but it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely hilarious. So yeah, surprise, surprise, Odin is doing very, very well. Hence why people tune in. Stanza saying I'm doing a -12. Van Dijk to Dan Burn, Odegaard to Son, Kellier to Vicario, and Solanke to Jackson. -12 for that. Jesus Christ. Another one doing a hit to bring in Fernandez for Sarabia. That's Nuclear Atoms. Jesus Christ almighty. Denver, good evening. Yelena's here. And, well, I think I must mention her name about 10 times on each podcast that I do. Paul Williams is trying to get into the top 100k for the first time in 4 years. Shall I do an Ash? What a loser. Honestly, Ash is literally Booker T. In fact, I think I did it on the podcast. If I did, for Monday's podcast, I was literally just doing Booker T, but I was doing an Ash, but doing it in the style of Booker T, where Booker T just kept constantly saying, Tamina. If anybody even bothered watching 2011 WWE, you'll understand that. Yelena. Oh my goodness. In fact, that was really funny. It wasn't really that funny at all. This is how egotistical I am. There's a couple of children, 15-year-old boys, yeah. In Lidl, and they were literally just going, oh my goodness, and I genuinely was thinking that they were doing an impression of me, doing an impression of Booker T. They weren't doing that at all. Why have I just gone onto the FPL website for? There was a reason for it. Oh yeah, Paul Williams talking about being in the top 100k for the first time in 4 years. Paul Williams, you're going to be the biggest loser on the planet if I've had a minimum of one top 100k in the past 4 years. Is Paul Williams going to become a loser? This is how you treat your audience, Yelena. You're not on stream section tomorrow, are you, annoyingly? Oh dear, Paul, you're a fucking loser. I have. Last year, 42k. Jesus Christ. 42k. And like I said, as I keep reiterating, I'm on for my first... In fact, in my first 8 seasons of playing FPL, I have had 6 top 100... It's not even top 100k. Top 50k finishes. In fact, in the past 10 seasons of playing FPL, I've had 1, 2, 3, 4... Wait a minute, I can't even count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... 6 top 50k finishes. What about that, Harry? I wonder if the fake Raptor will be here tonight. I wonder if the fake Raptor will actually be... Unlikely. But yeah, it was that cretin that decided to create some fake YouTube accounts of the big content creators, and then go on other people's streams and pretend that they're. Again, I know Ash has made this point. In fact, I'm pretty certain on FPL Juice the other day he literally said, "How much of a loser do you have to be to do that?" I was just like, yeah, I know. What, you in the tug while you were driving around? Yeah. Actually, not even a tug, it's a snowmobile at the moment. If James is watching, you'll be pleased to know I don't even have to drive a tug at the moment. I'm deliberately choosing to use the snowmobile. Dan had better join me tonight. He better bloody join me tonight. This stream is going to be short otherwise. Right now, the game is dead to me, Nuclear Atoms is saying. Oh, right. Oh. I'm more focused on it and excited about the football, especially the title race and Real Madrid in UEFA Champions League. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're completely... Again, real life does have to take away. Steve, I go a few weeks trying, but then I get bored with my team. I couldn't give a toss about my rank, to be honest. Just look at my history. I can't be bothered, to be honest with you. I've still got a final... Oh, yeah, of course, people are wildcarding. I love the fact that people are finalising their wildcard, and then tomorrow when Harry's doing his live stream, what's he doing? Right, bringing that player. Yeah. Oh, it's the same as Harry's, yeah. Still got to work out who I really want, depending on if I'm still in the cup. You're still in the FPL Cup? How? Oh yeah, shit, that's a point actually. Talking of cups, the Super Cup, we'll get onto that in a minute. Ben Murphy says, here's a laugh. So, if you want to have a laugh, this is apparently going to make me laugh, and you, the audience. Double Game Week 34. A 310,000k red arrow was catastrophic disaster. I got 51 points. What's this off? I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing. What is that off? I'm not laughing. It's Greg from Extras. Of course it's Extras. There's the first Extras reference today. I can't hear anything. Oh, what is laughing then? Actually, half the stuff I talk about to make people laugh, I literally cannot say on this channel. In fact, Yelena's making the point here, and so is Andrew Ferguson. I love listening to podcasts. I listen to... Oh no, he's not talking about FPL Total Steve. Stuff in there. I'm saying this is the first time I didn't watch any YouTube videos for research. All I did this week was read the scout report like Dan does, and he would tell you about that if he was here, but for some reason his Discord isn't connecting. To know about injuries today. Yeah, I will make this point, and I'll continue saying this. I do think that there's nothing wrong with consuming any FPL content, but if you find it is skewing your own thought processes, like it does with me, I just have to take a seat back and just be like, do you know what? I cannot be bothered with this. You understand? Your voice is always coming out of my phone. I binged the latest 4 podcast episodes today because I'd fallen behind. Well, you're going to love tomorrow's then. I can't mention a certain word on YouTube because it pretty much, doesn't it take you down? But let's just say it's to do with pornography. Animation saying 88k for me, Defo trying to aim for 50k. Yeah, and you're doing everything you're doing seems to be touching to gold. Odin said he went for Gallagher a few weeks back. I don't know why I went there, but I did get a return. Yeah, well, that'd be a differential this week. Genuinely, that would be a very interesting... In fact, it'd be interesting to see who actually goes with some differentials from Chelsea. Like, I doubt it, but someone like Mudryk or Sterling, it ain't going to happen. Or even Cucurella as another one. But, yeah. Dan? Thank God. Oh, the joy. Where have you been?
I was trying to come in and I couldn't select audio options. It was just an absolute shambles. But I just updated the app and then restarted my phone because, yeah. So.
Are we in a good mood now then? Are we calm?
I am now, yeah. I had no clue what was going on. I couldn't even actually toggle between the two audio options, so I kind of was close to giving up. But I'm all good.
Well, welcome to the show. In fact, while we've got you on here, you can answer, or you can talk about, in all seriousness, a point of view that Nuclear Atoms brought up. Excuse me. I'm doing a Yelena, yeah. In fact, Yelena, I've got an impression of you which is just stuck. In fact, she's probably not even watching now. It's just stuck in my head. So it was on FPL Juice, surprise, surprise, and you were asked to eat one of the pickles, and this is all I saw you do. It's not even It's not even funny. You literally were just like eating it. It's mental. And I'm just there watching it on big screen, just be like, just eat the fucking pickle. Just do a Homer Simpson, and you're politely like, this is delicious. Fuck me. Yes, I'm that much of a loser. Yeah, so Dan, Nuclear Atoms made a point about something that you actually use, which is, I got all my information from the Scout Report. Do you want to talk about the fact that you use the Fantasy Football Scout site for information?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a site I've used for many years now, and I just, like I said on the streams before, it's something that gets me in the mood for the weekend, kind of excited for the Premier League and fantasy football in general. And yeah, I just like to check the scout picks and any other articles they've got. It's quite a useful site, to be fair, in terms of like injury updates and press conferences and stuff like that. So it's just always interesting seeing their opinion. And to be honest with you, Steve-O, we all need some kind of form or source of information, and I haven't got time to be trawling through X for various bits of miscellaneous, sometimes erroneous bits of information. So yeah, but of course, you need for the really good stuff, you need like a paid membership, and I haven't really gone to that length yet.
No, and the reality of the situation is that most things don't come cheap at the end of the day, and you can get a lot of quality from a lot of things that you pay for, like Elite FPL Patreon. Good evening, Harry. Welcome, pal. That's Harry Dawson doing very, very well in the Moderator League. Yelena quickly saying that is the pressure of the cameras. And how's Dan feeling about well, we'll talk about that in a minute, the North London derby. We will be talking about that in a minute. So, I've just got your team up on screen, Dan. I want you to go through it in the sense of really how you're feeling after the fact that you had a one goalkeeper return because Neto only played once. Van Dijk with a whopping 2 points after Liverpool could barely muster anything together after beating Fulham. Who were they playing? I couldn't even think on the podcast I was doing earlier. Was it Fulham?
What, Bournemouth?
No, Liverpool.
Well, they played Fulham and they played Everton.
Fulham and Everton, right, okay. He mustered up 2 points. Rico Lewis didn't even play yesterday. Oh, no, he did. He played 15 minutes. Got you 1 point. Gabriel, of course, coming through with 2 clean sheets. Salah captain, a complete fail. Saka, Havertz coming through with some good scores. Hwang coming through for you because he came on as a sub for somebody that you remind me of, Dan?
What, Palmer?
Dan, you sound very quiet and down. Like,
I'm exhausted, Steve-O. I'm absolutely exhausted.
why is that?
I haven't really slept the last couple of days, so yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, I know why as well. Watkins, of course, coming through with a nice 9 point of Solanke, and the big man himself, Mateta, with a whopping 29 points. This week, Dan, how did you feel your your double game week went?
Well, I think it went okay. I mean, pleased with Mateta, obviously. Havertz coming through. Like everybody in the same boat at this point with Salah. Ironically, that the single game week players, Watkins and Solanke, doing a job. And I suppose the only thing I'm slightly annoyed about is not going with my gut in the sense of Palmer. I don't know why I remind you of Palmer, but because I had a feeling, well, even though he was in ridiculous form before the last game week, the last few games, just insane since game week 28. Well, since game week 28, even returning game week 27. So away to us, I was like, our defensive record. But then the part of me was thinking, well, you know, with the form that he's in, it would be stupid to take him out. But I could have done so. Yeah, but this time last Friday we were talking about bringing Nunez in, and instead I went for Mateta and took Haaland out, so that paid off. Defensively, yeah, it's disappointing, isn't it? Really, I mean, Liverpool just let me down. Really, conceding against Fulham, obviously losing to Everton, but it gets to a little point where I did see little bits of the Everton Liverpool game, and from an Arsenal fan perspective, I was happy about the result. Let's be honest here. And yeah, so it's not loads else I would have done, but I think that slight irritation, I should have listened to my gut and took Palmer out for someone. I don't know who I'd have brought in, but yeah, maybe I should have done that.
So you're now going to have the opportunity, because I heard you on the voice message the other day talking about the fact that you lot beat Chelsea and you used some quite aggressive language in that particular voice message. So I now want you to express your feelings of Arsenal 6. Was it 6 or 5 or 6? It was 6, wasn't it?
5.
5.
Yeah, I mean, we won 5-0.
Against Chelsea. Talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, Chelsea have given us some batterings. That 6-0 Stamford Bridge, I think it was 2013 or 14 time at a push. It was Wenger's 1,000th game. Yeah, we got absolutely destroyed, obviously, as the scoreline suggests. And somebody in the audience is going to have to remember this. They'll probably Google it. Try not to Google it. Try to use your brain. But I feel like Gibbs got sent off, but it should have been Chamberlain or the other way round, which was absolutely ludicrous. And where was the VAR? But yeah, Chelsea have, given us some proper beatdowns over the years. There's been some miserable results, and I was quite nervous ahead of that game because they played well against Man City, and I watched that game and I thought to myself, if they had a striker, like a proper striker, then they could have beat Man City, to be fair, with the opportunities that they created. And they're just a very inconsistent team, and it was quite close in the first half. They had opportunities. We started really well, but they did have opportunities in the last 15 minutes, and they were getting more into the game. But when we scored the second goal, they just kind of down tools. And yeah, I was surprised at how they folded, really. But I would say that we played well, and I'm just pleased that Arteta listens to this stream and listen to what I said last Sunday. Can you remember what that is, Steve-O?
I'm guessing get Havertz up front and drop Jesus.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, play Partey in midfield because I'm a big fan of Thomas Partey. And
tell us why.
In that game against Wolves, when he came on for that last 10 minutes, it just freed Rice and Odegaard to push on and go forward. And it just feels like it adds a lot of balance to the team. And he can just control the game from the deep positions, play those passes in between the lines, and just adds that composure in midfield and that silky bit of play. And he was, one of our best players last season. And I remember the season before when he got injured and we had the run in and we started to lose games. And I don't know if he'll be there after the summer. I think he's got 1 year left on his contract, but I can't see any reason why you wouldn't play him again on Sunday. I know he's had a lot of injury problems this season, but with that big game coming up, Odegaard had a fucking amazing game again. Like, it just assists and the way he was controlling the game, and he has been playing very well recently. And yeah, happy with the result, but tougher game coming up on Sunday for sure.
Yeah, we'll get onto that later. But on a rivalry point of view, Dan, it is between me, you, and Dale now. I'm constantly slowly catching you up, mate. It's now only between me and you. It is about 40 points between myself and you. Between me and Dale, it's 18 points. I know you've got your wild card. Are you playing it today / this week?
I've got my bench boost as well, Steve-O.
Yeah, well, we haven't come on to that yet. I want to know about your wild card.
Yeah, I'm thinking to play my wild card this game week.
But you haven't activated it yet.
No, but I've been looking at various teams and whatnot, and various formations and whatnot, and yeah, I mean, I expected you. I'd have been disappointed in you if you didn't catch up with me, like because you paid a bench boost in a big double game week. So I would have been disappointed in you if you didn't. To be fair, and I've been looking at it. I mean, this particular double game week isn't great, and yeah, I mean, Tottenham and Chelsea. It's not amazing, but we've got another big double game week in game week 37, as we all know, as well. But having this previous, there's always surprises in store. I mean, I didn't expect Everton assets to do as well as they did in the last game week, to be fair. So we've got to be aware of that, and also aware of single game week players as well with great fixtures. So I've been having a look at. I just want a nice balance with this wild card, to be fair, because I really want to go hard on game week 37 with a really strong bench boost, to sort of finish the season out, really.
Completely off topic because I've just deliberately rewound the comments for a second because I wanted to get your views on something. But FPL Stands is saying, I'm travelling to London this summer, I'm assuming. What kind of food should I be having? Well, London probably provides every kind of food imaginable on the planet. So you're not going to be lost for food. England isn't exactly renowned for its, shall we say, what's the word I'm looking for here? Luxurious food, and to use a FPL terminal, a differential food from the rest of the world. It pretty much just opens restaurants which represent various countries from around. In fact, any country on this planet, there will be a restaurant in London. In my small little suburban town alone in Zone 4, there's at least 50 different countries represented by restaurants. So you're going to be fine with that. Where in London are you going, Stands of interest? Yeah, it was about people taking big hits this week. So Animations, for example, is going to be taking out Salah, Udogi and Semedo to bring in Fernandez, Shah and Poro. You've then got Nuclear Atoms thinking of doing a -8. I can't remember who for now. You've then got a -12 from this stanza saying Van Dijk to Burn, Odegaard to Son, Kelly to Vicario, Solanke to Jackson. These big hits this week for double game week players. Is it really worth it, Dan?
I mean, that last one just sounded absolutely crazy. You're taking out Odegaard, who's on form. Okay, for Son, admittedly, I mean, that's it was he said about Jackson as well, doesn't he? For Solanke. Yeah. That's just crazy because they're up against Brighton at home after that humdinger they got last night. Ball jobs by the beach. Thank you, Brighton.
Why is that? I mean, I'll just give you my piece now. I watched the second goal. In fact, you would have heard me on the voice message. My reaction to the second goal, the free kick from Foden. You would have heard the reaction, and I just was like, I can't be able to watch this. So I just stuck on Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. It's quite simple. So Dan, bottle jobs, go for it.
Trying to play it out from the back, trying to be clever against Man City. Meant to be trying to do us a favour, but they didn't. So thanks, Brighton. Hopefully it will come from Matomo in the summer.
Hold on a minute. You mean doing you a favour?
Well, that's what they should be focused on, Steve-O. I've been counting on all week on Brighton to do us a favour. But they didn't. They bottled it against Man City.
Again,
That should be their focus, not their own team. It should be, how can we help Arsenal to win a league for the first time in 20 years?
Well, any Brighton fans in the chat? Is Az here, Yelena? Maybe he can defend Brighton last night. I was bemused by the playing out from the back. It was stealing goal last night, wasn't it? It was like he didn't know what to do. Like Dunk, there was a point where Dunk was like, pretty much, yeah, you got to pass it to me, mate. And then he passed it to Dunk, and Dunk was like, yeah, I've got to have to pass it. It was just so weird. It didn't seem to work at all. And Man City all over them, and they ended up obviously being 4-0. And as I stated at the start of the show, of course, Foden and Kevin De Bruyne come in for Jason. You couldn't make it up, really. I mean, that goal from De Bruyne, though, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah. I mean, a cracking goal. I mean, look, I mean, we expected Man City to beat Brighton. We said it in the predictions last time out. I am sort of joking a little bit, but I don't know how sad this sounds, but I've been looking at the fixtures so much over the last month or so, and the permutations of this, that, and the other. And as soon as I saw Brighton were like 3-0 down, I was like, right, so let's have a look at Nottingham Forest. Let's make a case for Nottingham Forest and see how they've done at home this season and in previous games against Man City and all this nonsense. Ultimately, at the end of the day, taking it back to the real life football and the title race and whatnot, the only team I can see, and this is the irony of it, the only team I can see stopping Man City is Tottenham. But of course, we've got to play Tottenham first on Sunday, and for them, it's going to be their cup final, isn't it? Because they ain't got any other cup finals to play for or trophies.
No, absolutely. Andrew Ferguson coming up with a point here. Whatever happened to J&O?
Yes.
Came up on my he came up in my memories today. I believe, like with a lot of people, Rob and anybody else that's interested, real life comes into play. It's hence why Jason is not much here anymore, because real life dictates what you can do regarding content creation. And for people like me, it's quite simple. I just press a button and I hit record, or I hit, in this case, start stream, and whoever wants to listen in listens in. If they don't, they don't. Whoever wants to watch, they watch. It's completely up to them. But there are a lot of people that do this kind of content where they feel that they want to be producing content on a regular basis. And to be completely frank with YouTube, the reality is that to be noticed, you've got to be putting out content. In fact, why am I saying this, Dan? You're the one that's in this business. Do you want to explain to people about the world of social media and how it kind of works regarding the strains of being relevant and getting your face out there?
Look, I think, I mean, I don't know Jano at all, but he was trying very hard, wasn't he, to push his channel for quite some time, and there's just a lot of competition out there, isn't there, really? And yeah, it's a constant battle, isn't it? If you're trying to do something on the side, maybe it's like a YouTube channel and an Instagram or TikTok, or some things take off, don't it? Some things don't, and it's a lot of hard work, isn't it, really? And sometimes people, you know, they have a presence on a particular platform and they'll do well for maybe something will go viral, or you know, it looks like they're going to be really promising. And like you said, real life takes over to the point where you have to make a decision whether to carry on with what you're doing and keep on pushing it forward without any instant returns. If you like any business, isn't it, really? Or you just focus on your sort of, as we say, real life job, I suppose, and to keep on coming up with ideas for content, but also as well, Steve, like trying to reinvent yourself to keep it interesting, keep it relevant as well. So it's a big challenge. It's a lot of work, particularly if you're working, let's say, like in a full-time job and doing this on top of it. It's a lot, and I'm sure people will appreciate it. But like, going back, yeah, it's an interesting point. It would be interesting if anyone in the chat knows what's happened to JNO.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking just briefly about the Brighton versus Man City game there. And then, of course, you were mentioning about the fact that Tottenham could be doing a favour and stuff. And then, of course, this weekend it is the North London derby. And we will be getting on to our predictions in a minute. Because why is the score predictions so relevant to this channel, Dan? What did you say last week?
Well, why is it so? Why it's something I really enjoy doing.
There's the answer.
You enjoy doing it as well, right?
Yeah, I do actually. To be completely frank, I do actually genuinely do. I do pride myself on my score predictions, despite the fact in Super Brew, for a bit like Sky, it's like I was doing really, really well, and then like that, it's just completely fallen flat on its face. Same with Super Brew, I was doing really, really well, and it's just completely fallen flat on its face. The only difference with Sky, is that I literally am just not even looking at the game. Apart from last night when I brought in Alvarez and captained him. But other than that, it's a simple case of, I like I said, I do pride myself on my predictions, and it's something that I like you say, I enjoy doing. I do enjoy doing it with you as well, because you do remember your history, to be completely frank. Harry Dawson's saying the real question is what the hell has happened to David Monday. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't even know what's happened. You don't need to write anything in the chat. I'll just have a look later on regarding that. I don't know what you're talking about, unfortunately. JR saying, whose team is this on screen? It is Dan's team. Unfortunately, he hasn't hit the wildcard button yet, so I can't bring it up on Discord. Harry Dawson with a sarcastic. I also haven't watched the last few lives because you have scared me off being negative, Steve-O. But I do want to make this point that Rob Jones makes about Foden's shot. The free kick last night was actually off target before the deflection. It should have been an own goal. I have to say, I agree with that, Rob. Dan, do you think that should have been classified as an own goal with the deflection off Gross?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It's a weird one with deflections like that, isn't it? It doesn't normally get classified as a own goal, but yeah, it was quite a heavy one. So yeah, probably. But the FPL gods didn't decide it was that going to be that way.
Unfortunately, not. No. Well, I just want to quickly, like I said, I want to celebrate a free hit team this particular week, and it does go to Dread FPL. A good friend of the show, and also a very large personality within the FPL community. And whether you're aware or not, he was taken seriously unwell several weeks back. He's fine now. He's cool. He's on the mend. But as you can imagine, the game isn't directly a priority at the moment. But the point being is that he's still, thankfully, able to play the game, and he did his free hit this week, and it's completely paid off massively here. Like I said, it's 165 points on the free hit. He had in goal Alisson, despite the fact Pickford was on his bench. Ben White, Gabriel, Trent, Havertz, the three of your boys there, Fernandes, Eze captain, Salah, Watkins, Solanke, Mateta. Extraordinary. One quick question for you, Dan, regarding the free hitters and people that went with Ben White. Where the hell did these two goals come from? Because one of them apparently was a complete shinner. Is that right?
Yeah, the second one was a bit of just a bit of a fluke, to say the least. But we'll take them as they come. I celebrated it like it was the winner in the World Cup final, so I couldn't care less, really. Fair play to Ben White, and fair play to those that got him in. And if you captained him as well, then fair play to you.
There was a girl on X called FPL Leah. She does like marathons and charity runs and whatnot, and she actually did captain Ben White.
Well, I mean, fair play, and I mean, he's had a good season really, and I know we're talking. Look, Steve, I know we're talking FPL and everything, but I'm sure at some point he'll play for England again.
Would you expand on that?
Well, he's not in the squad or recent squads or whatever because of this falling out with Steve Holland or Southgate or wherever it was at the last World Cup tournament. So he pulled out of the last squad, and I think he's just fed up of not being in the first team when he's on much better form than some of the players that are being selected, really.
No, yeah. Steve Miller saying, I didn't see the game last night, but purely from how you've just described Foden's goal, absolutely, it should have been an own goal. David Monday was the gentleman who presented nearly all the scout shows on YouTube. He just went missing with no word of why. It was just very strange. Andrew Ferguson saying he started the season with FPL General, then just disappeared. There was something else I've just read there and I've completely missed it. Where the hell are we talking about here? Steve Sedman saying he's just making a comedic comment here, Dan. He's just saying here, I'm always watching, just tapping into chat every few minutes would be hazardous to my health with my wife sat next to me. Up to you whether I qualify for the league or not. Dilkinson is saying I took a minus 12 point hit and went with the better fixtures rather than the doubles. He's having no Spurs though, Dan.
For this double game week, no Spurs whatsoever.
I'm assuming that's what he means. Dilkinson, do you want to tell us? I'm assuming that's the case, Dan.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I would have thought he'd at least have Son.
Yeah, so would I.
Sorry, I did get a little bit distracted. I was just trying to search down JNO, and I've just come onto his X profile, and not really a lot going on apart from reposting stuff to do with betting, really. So just interesting.
There we go. Talking of serious stuff, it's the Super Cup, Dan. So the Super Cup is an Elite FPL exclusive designed by Firetog, and we're now down to, this is the cup that you want to be in. In fact, you are in it, Denver. You are. In fact, is that what you meant by the cup, Denver? The Super Cup? That must be what you meant. So we've just had our quarterfinals, which was held over game week 33 and 34. Zvonka was up against Karma Baby, and a very close game here, Dan. It ended up being 214 points to Zvonka versus Karma Baby's 196. Now, interestingly enough, in the first game, neither took a hit, and Zvonka came out on top 82 points to 73. But then in the next game, where Karma Baby took a -8, he got 131 points, and Zvonka got 132, and that's including the -8. So Karma Baby, like I said, only just missing out there. And Zvonka will be playing Denver. Denver, this is extraordinary. It just basically came down to the simple fact, I'm just going to assume that it was down to how many attacking returns Denver's team got. Because they both ended up on 166 points. Denver took 2 -4s. Frenchie only took the 1 -4, and Denver on the last game week 34 got 108 points. Frenchie with 98. Both ended up on 166. Firetog, if you can just let me know how that's happened. Is that just simply because Denver got more points in game week 34, hence why he goes through? Is that the simplest way to do it? I'm assuming that's the case. But yeah, Denver has qualified just. Emil Smith-Joe he's had probably the easiest tie here. Absolutely smashed Fader Raza. 203 points to 125. The downside for Emil Smith-Joe, regular in the Discord, is he's up against the machine that is Harbour Boy, ranked 840th in the world. Yeah, Dan, Harbour Boy's ranked 849th in the world. Or 47th.
I mean, that's incredible. So well done to Harbour Boy.
And I have said that if he's invited onto various podcasts, I want him to mention Elite FPL over and over and how Elite FPL has helped him to get to that rank. He's just destroyed Sai. He was up against Sai the best, 198 points to 157. This specific week, Harbour Boy got 117 points. Sai only got 88. So yeah, it's going to be Harbour Boy versus Emil Smith-Joe, who, in fact, I can actually look at it now. So I know Harbour Boy's got his wildcard and bench boost like you. Well, Smith-Joe has only got his bench boost left. Still got his wildcard. And his team, as of right this second, as of right now, is basically Pickford in goal, Van Dijk, Muniz, Gabriel. Sounds familiar.
Mm.
Salah, Eze, Elise. He captained Odegaard, Saka, Darwin and Solanke. That's basically me reading out my team, apart from I don't own Elise and Odegaard. I've got Havertz and someone else. Palmer. Harbour Boy will be playing his wild card, I'm assuming, this week. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Smith-Joe does. When it comes to between Zvonka and Denver, so let's see what chip Zvonka has left. Zvonka has no chips, 0 chips, and Zvonka is 3,469th in the world, Dan.
Well done.
You sound like the London dash cam there. Well done. Whenever he's sarcastically mentioned.
What else can I say? What else can I say?
Well, that's very, very true. Denver, who's doing worse than me this season, but more importantly, he is through to the semi-final of the Super Cup. He has, well, he's got wildcard, bench boost left. So hopefully Denver can take advantage of the fact that Zvonka's got the lack of chips left. So good luck to Denver and good luck to all the semi-finalists in Zvonka, Harbour Boy and Emil Smith-Joe. So moving on to just a few more comments in the chat. We've got Animations here. Love to be a part of the chat next season. You're in it anyway. Animations. I don't quite understand what that means. You're actually in it now. Hussein saying Martinelli is a 90-minute man. What's that? That's Ricky Gervais. What's that? Huh? What's that? Martinelli is a 90-minute man. His poor form is because of the lack. All right, here we are. One for you, Dan. Is Martinelli's lack of minutes, or more specifically, his poor form because of the lack of minutes?
I mean, potentially, but you know, when he came on against Chelsea, he had chances to score, and Trossard's delivering. Trossard's delivering returns, and yeah, I just think I want Trossard to start on Sunday because I think he's got 8 goals in 17 games or something, the last 17 games or something like that, and I think he's probably the best finisher at the club at the moment.
Ilgenton said he's brought in Fernandes, De Bruyne and Isaac. Sorry, Fernandes, De Bruyne, Isaac and Gordon this week for I can't remember what he did now, but he's currently 30th in the YouTube chat league. Denver saying he's on his wild card. I've clicked the wrong bloody button, you idiot. I've clicked on how to discover your perfect cottage holiday. Because QScore.com are played with adverts. I'm on my wild card since the last game started. Everyone I came up, I just look at it for differentials. As I'm only playing FPL because of the knockout cup to keep me going. Yeah, hopefully that'll be the case. Basically, you can go on and forget about your rank this season and win the Super Cup. There's a small chance with There's a very small chance, Denver, because where are you, Denver, in Africa? Or something like that. I know you're abroad somewhere. Remind me which country you're in. There is a small possibility that you could get a trophy if the Patreon money could potentially cover that. But we are going to come on to Dan's favourite part of the show, which is the predictions and the history and just chatting about the upcoming game week. And like I said, I do personally enjoy this part as well. Before we get on to it, Dan, is there anything you got to say about this upcoming game week that's been on your mind?
I think not really. I mean, in terms of the double game week, I'm not massively excited about it. I'm more building for, or at least thinking of, double game week 37. But there's some pretty juicy single game week fixtures, I think you'd agree. So looking forward to predicting them now.
Is one of them being Man United at home to Burnley?
Very juicy fixture.
So yeah, we'll kick off then with the predictions. And in fact, before I just quickly do that, let's just quickly bring up. Well, I'm not going to bring it up on screen because I'll be here all day otherwise. I do want to just give out the YouTube chat league a quick shout out. So we've got Harbour Boy that's top on 2,249 points. He is 31 points clear of FPL Harry Daniels, who is on 2,218 points. But Madeline Tudor is slowly climbing up his backside with 2,188. But Harry Dawson, who said he's having a bit of a stinker at the moment, he is down to 4th, 2,185 points. And then he is 13 points clear of John Harris, who is in 5th. So yeah, it's Harry Daniels. Harbour Boy, can you continue being top of the league for the rest of the season? It's mad to think, Dan, there's only 4 game weeks left officially of this season.
Yeah, it's sad in a way because it's been a very interesting season. I think it's the most goals scored in the Premier League season. Have I got that right?
Yeah, someone in the chat last night did mention the fact that this is after last.
Yeah, it goes quick, doesn't it? I mean, I know we've got the Euros and stuff coming up, but yeah, the season just goes very quick, basically.
Denver saying here that he is in South Africa. Good Lord! So, we kick off tomorrow, thankfully, with an early fixture, and which is always good for me because it means that I get to listen to Streamception rather than having to wait around. So we have West Ham versus Liverpool, Dan. West Ham coming off the back of an extraordinary result against Crystal Palace where they lost 5-2. Gerald Bowen. Excuse me. Gerald Bowen will be fit for this particular fixture. He will be back. Liverpool, of course, with a few very disappointing results. I mean, that Everton game is an absolute sickener, if I'm honest with you. But in the last 4 fixtures, they've lost twice and drawn once. The worst time to be getting a drop in form. It's good for you guys, but for Liverpool fans, it's just come at the worst time possible. And yeah, it's a tough fixture, this particular one, Dan. West Ham at home are formidable. They've only lost 4 times this season at home. Drawn 7, won 6. Scored quite a lot at home. 26 goals for 25 against. They haven't won a fixture at home since they beat Brentford 4-2. Since then, it's just these are all fixtures at home. It's all been draws and a loss. 2-2 against Burnley. 1-1 against Aston Villa. Another draw against Tottenham. 1-1. and then they lost to Fulham 2-0. Liverpool, on the other hand, away from home, I mean, they just score goals for fun. Scored 32, conceded 19. Again, a team who don't really lose many away from home. They've won 9, drawn 5, lost 3. They lost their last game away from home, which was, of course, that Everton game. But prior to that, they'd won 3 and drawn 1. That draw coming against Man United, of all teams, as Jason mentioned to you the other day, they seem to be the team which is in Liverpool's thorn in Liverpool's side. Yeah, the early kickoff, Dan. West Ham at home to Liverpool. What are you thinking about this?
I mean, Liverpool need to bounce back, don't they? It's been, they played well against Fulham in the game that I watched last Sunday, but that defeat to Everton's going to really sting. And Van Dijk came out and questioned the ambition of his teammates and desire to win the league. So, and yeah, West Ham also coming off a terrible result away to Palace. But I feel that Liverpool will come back. I mean, Salah just looked out of form on Wednesday evening, and Darwin, I always compare him to the Mortal Kombat. I always call him Mortal Kombat man, but he just can't finish. So, but I just feel like, I'm going to go for Liverpool for this game because there's so much riding on it for them. And West Ham season's kind of petering out. So I'm going to go 2-0 Liverpool.
Well, Liverpool do enjoy playing West Ham. They haven't lost in the last 5 versus West Ham, despite the fact that 4 out of the last 5 have all been at home. 5-1, 3-1, 2-1 away, 1-0, 1-0. Me, I think Liverpool... What score did you just say?
I went 2-0.
There's no way in hell Liverpool are keeping a clean sheet in this. Not a chance. No way, Dan. I think they're going to... When I say scrape through this, I mean scrape through this. I'm going to do a line that a former colleague of mine, Francesco, used to say, which was, I'm tired, Steve-O. I'm just very tired. And I think Liverpool are just tired. I really do. I think, in fact, when I was watching, funny enough, talking of Italians, when watching a Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmare last night, the bloke that was in charge of the particular restaurant, he was just going, I'm tired, Gordon. I'm just tired of this shit. I just feel that Liverpool are at a point where it's just like, I think we've just run out of steam here. A bit like a boxer who's just gone through 12 rounds or whatever it is, and he's at the end of his tether, and eventually the young upstart eventually, a bit like what will happen between Jake, Jack, Paul, whatever their bloody names are, against Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson will be just absolutely going for it, and eventually by whatever round it is, Jake Paul will come along and just be like, blow into his face, and he's just going to fall over. And that's what I think is going to happen here with Liverpool. I think it's going to be some very, very tired game here, and I think it's just going to end up being like a close 2-1 victory to Liverpool. We then move on to the first London derby of the weekend. It is Fulham versus Crystal Palace. Fulham, a team who, again, they do like to play at home, but I think potentially, they're another team that's just what you mentioned about Brighton. They're sitting on the beach. I just think that as professional footballers, whatever happens, but really, they're not going to... It's basically playing for pride about what position they're going to end up in, but to be honest with you, they're going to end up comfortably in that upper mid-table area. They've won 9, drawn 1, only drawn once at home and lost 7. Scored 30, conceded 19. They've lost their last 2 games at home, 3-1 to Liverpool, and of course it was 1-0 to Newcastle. Away from home though, Crystal Palace, well, again, absolute pants. They don't score many down. They've only scored 16 away from home this season. They did win their last match 1-0 away at Liverpool, even though they were getting absolutely tanked. Prior to that, they lost to Bournemouth 1-0. They drew with Nottingham Forest 1-1. They lost to Tottenham 3-1. They drew with Everton 1-1. And they lost to Brighton 4-1. And like I said, they could have lost easily to Liverpool 3 or 4-1. It ended up being 1-0. I think, despite the fact that the form is not suggesting a draw, I am going to go with a draw, Dan. I'm going to go with a 1-1 between Fulham and Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I think Palace found some excellent form over the last few games. And Fulham have lost a few, haven't they, recently, to be fair. I think with Eze, at least, I know, wasn't there a doubt about Eze or something?
Yeah, apparently he's got a knock to the knee.
He'll be fine. He's got another knee. But, I mean, Mateta getting the goals. Fulham, they played quite well in that first half against Liverpool, but they kind of faded in the second half. Both of these teams are safe, but I think it should be quite a good game, to be fair. I'm going to go 2-2, actually.
It's funny you mentioned 2-2 because that has actually happened in the last two fixtures between them. The last two have ended 0-0 and 2-2. Prior to that, the results have been all over the place. We've got a 3-0 to Fulham, another 0-0. Both at Crystal Palace, the 0-0s. And then Crystal Palace beating Fulham 2-1 and then Crystal Palace beating Fulham 2-0. In fact, Crystal Palace don't seem to lose against Fulham apart from that one time where they lost 3-0. Can you take a random guess as to why Fulham won 3-0 on Boxing Day in 2022, Dan? Why did Fulham win 3-0 against Crystal Palace on Boxing Day in the year 2022?
Palace had 2 players sent off.
Bloody hell. This is why we've got you on the show, Dan. And can you remember who those 2 players were? I'll give you a clue. One of them was who Jason brought one of the players in this week.
Oh, what the defender, Mitchell?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Fucking hell. It was the other one then. There's no way. If you get this, I reckon you're cheating. You got 2 yellow cards.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, this is just going to be guessing, isn't it? I'm going to guess Zaha. I probably got this wrong.
No, it was another defender. It was Tompkins.
Oh, wow. Yes, okay.
How the hell did you remember they got 2 players sent off?
I didn't. I just guessed. But the way I the way I know I'm really confident, and sometimes you just have to go with your gut. So yeah.
Christ Almighty, that and that's you guessing. Jesus. So on to the next game. We've got my team, Burnley, away at Man United. Of course, we have been on an upturn and fortune of results. All draws at the moment. I think it's 7 unbeaten. We've only lost once in 7. Yes, it was. It was lost once in 7, and that was, of course, away at Everton 1-0. Don't quiz me on who scored in that game, Dan, because I don't have a fucking clue, mate. I couldn't even tell you who scored in the 4-1 win the other day, apart from Goodmunson. But at home, Man United are very, very good. They just don't lose, really. They've won 9, drawn 2, lost 5. They do concede at home. They scored 27, conceded 24. They've only lost once in the last 5, and that was to Fulham 2-1. Other than that, they have just... the funny thing is, every time they win a match, it's followed up by a negative result. So they drew 1, lost 1, draw 1. So you never know, they may draw with this game here. Us, on the other hand, away from home. In the last 4, like I said, we've only lost once, and that was at Everton. We've the 2 draws, again, I couldn't even tell you what they were. It was West Ham. In fact, you could probably tell me. West Ham and Chelsea 2-2. With Sheffield United, us beating them 4-1. We're away at Man United. The history is going to be in Man United's favour. I do know that much. I immediately said it when they were talking about on the Beeline podcast. I went with a 2-1 victory to Man United. I think that it's the usual line from me. Their quality will just shine through. And as the history suggests, we do not like playing Man United whatsoever. We have not. In fact, Man United have won in the last 6 out of the last 6. A couple of 1-0s in there. Both, funny enough, at Turf Moor, where Man United won 1-0. But yeah, we've got 2 3-1s and a 2-0 in there. The only time we've actually had a comprehensive... In fact, it ended up being 1-1, Dan, on the 8th of February. It's all 2022 at the moment. In 2022. Can you remember that game at all? Because I don't.
No. Even my memory doesn't stretch.
There we go. But yeah, Man United, Dan, against Burnley.
Well, United got their win against Sheffield United during the week, which I was kind of chuckling at when I was watching the Everton-Liverpool game with the score coming up on screen. But United got the job done. I mean, they've been getting so much stick in the press this week, obviously after the Coventry debacle in the FA Cup semi-final, FA Cup Classic there. Burnley, as you said, they've only lost 1 in the last 7. A fantastic win away to Sheffield United last game week around. And United are just unpredictable, really. Let's be honest. They'll have moments in games where they'll play quite well, and other moments in games when they'll just fold. I mean, it was just crazy against Coventry, and I think Burnley will score. I'm going to go for an upset here. I'm going to go 2-1 Burnley.
2-1 Burnley?
Steve-O, my positivity is single-handedly keeping your side in with a chance of staying up. I said they'd win last week. I'm saying it again. Burnley will win tomorrow.
Stick your neck on the line with us away at Sheffield United. Win away at Man United. I mean, that would be...
Why not?
Well, the fact that I think, like I said, Man United's quality will just shine through. I think they're gonna go through our relatively high line. I think they're gonna expose it, and I just worry about Fernandes and Garnacho. I think they could have, and Højlund. I think they could have a bit of fun potentially. I wouldn't be surprised if it ended like 3 or 4-1. To be honest, I do agree that we'll score. I don't think we'll score, but a win. I wouldn't be surprised if we scored first. I would not be surprised if we scored first. Talking of scoring first, Newcastle, disappointing result against Crystal Palace, losing 2-0. They are at home to a team which they should be targeting a lot of goals against. I think this could be I don't think it's going to be the game which will have many goals in it, but this should be a game in which Newcastle should be targeting to be scoring a lot of goals. It is Newcastle at home to Sheffield United. Newcastle again, ironically, they do score a lot. I mean, this is ridiculous. In the home league table, top 5, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Newcastle, have all scored 43 goals, Dan. And it's Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal that have conceded the least, 15, 14 and 15. And then it's Newcastle conceding 20. Sheffield United, on the other hand, are abysmal away from home. They've won 1, drawn 3, lost 13, scored 15, conceded 41 goals. Last 4 fixtures, 4-2 against Man United, 2-0 against Brentford. They lost 3-1 against Liverpool. I'm just going with a 3-0, Dan.
Yeah, if Sheffield United lose this game, they get relegated. They've kind of put up a bit more of a fight recently, but as you said, on the road this season, they've just been out of their depth, really. And Chris Wilder's tried to sort of rally the troops a bit, and like I said, there've been some spirited performance across the season, but they just haven't had the quality, Steve-O. And Newcastle, on the other And yeah, a bit kind of up and down at the moment. Disappointing result midweek. They're at home. They're going to put it right. I'm going to go 3-0 Newcastle, and good night to Sean Bean's men.
I completely forgot at the start of the season, this is the game that ended 8-0 to Newcastle.
Yes, yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure Sheffield United will put up a fight tomorrow, but yeah, Newcastle, we're going to smoke them 3-0.
Trippier got a hat-trick of assists that day. Guimaraes, a goal and assist. Almiron, Wilson, Longstaff, Byrne, Botman, all getting in on the act as well. Anthony Gordon also scoring. I don't see 8-0 at all, but I do remember that day actually, and I was thinking, please get to 10. Please score 10. It was mental. It was just absolutely mad, Dan. Just every single touch of the ball Newcastle had in Sheffield United's half, it was just a goal.
Well, I mean, a few seasons ago, wasn't it? Leicester beat Southampton 9-0 away. But Southampton got their revenge late in the season, beating 2-1 away. But I can't see anything like that happening in this game. But yeah, when you see these score lines, I think, was it Tottenham beat Wigan 9-1, and United beat Ipswich 9-0, and it's a bit like when one of the whipping boys of international football gets tanked by one of the big boys, like the San Marinos and stuff, but you don't expect to see it in the Premier League. And yeah, it was just ridiculous, that game, wasn't it? Like Gordon getting in on the act, and Trippier, hat-trick of assists, like you say. So I mean, we could even argue there's a strong kind of case for captaincy of Isaac, of a single game week player in this particular double game week.
So, regarding the next upcoming fixture, which is on Sky Sports, not exactly inspiring. Everton. Oh no, sorry. We've missed out Wolves versus Luton, which the Metro, the free paper in London, said is going to be 0-0. I said to my mate at work, Jason, I'm like, it's got Wolves Luton 0-0, but it's got Everton to beat Brentford 3-1. I'm thinking, I would have put that the other way round. Wolves are almost fully fit now. Do very well at home, up against a team in Luton who are terrible away from home and concede lots of goals. Whereas Everton, who I know they beat Liverpool 2-0, but it's very, very difficult for them to score up against a team who can defend. I'd have thought that would be more like a 0-0. Anyway, that aside, yeah, Wolves versus Luton, we can gloss over this. I know you're going to come out with the line, well, there are people that are supporters of Wolves. Name one, Dan.
Exactly, yeah. My mate Aaron Keeley.
There we are. Wolves are at home to Luton. Again, a team that don't draw that many at home. Only 3. Last 3 fixtures, they lost 1-0 to Bournemouth, 2-0 to Arsenal, 2-1 to West Ham. Luton away from home, I mean, it's just a shower of shite, to be honest with you. Conceded 43 goals, lost 5-1 to Man City. They lost 2-0 to Arsenal, 2-1 to Tottenham, 4-3 to Bournemouth. They drew with Crystal Palace 1-1, and they lost to Liverpool 4-1. These are all away fixtures. I think Wolves will have enough in the bag here, and I mean just enough in the bag to come through. So I'm going to go 2-1, Dan, to Wolves.
Definitely not a dead game. I don't know what that comment's about in chat. This is a big game for Luton.
All about who said that?
And
ABJ.
Yeah, dead game. God. I mean, Luton last week losing 5-1 at home to Brentford. That was just, when I saw that result in the pub, I just said, I can't believe it, because it was such a big game for Luton. But, they do play that expansive style of football, attacking football, and they've had some great performances this season, and Rob Edwards has done a great job. And I like Luton. I don't want them to stay up, But like you said, Wolves, I watched them last Saturday evening. We deserve the win, but there are no pushovers. Players come back to fitness. I think Wolves are going to win this one. I'm going to go for my classic score. I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves.
Yeah, I always see the likes of Luton always seem to be able to score. They always seem to be able to score, but it's the fact that can they hold on to a win? I just think Wolves have just got that tiny bit of quality, and I mean tiny bit of quality to be able to come through and just about beat Liverpool. Luton. There's a reason why I've just mentioned Liverpool, which I'm going to tell you now, which is apparently, Liverpool have announced their new manager, Dan. So Andrew Ferguson's just brought this to me, but it's going to be Arne Slot.
Well, I mean that's the update on Sky Sports. Other sports websites are available, please. But apparently they're close to announcing him as successor, and Klopp's spoken quite highly of him.
Who is he?
He's a manager for Feyenoord. I'm not going to confess that I know a lot about him, if I'm honest, but clearly. Feyenoord won the Dutch league last season. I know that much, and apparently he's going to be the new man for Liverpool. So, be interesting to see. I know they had some other people in the pipeline, didn't they? Alonso staying at Leverkusen, the sporting coach as well. But be interesting to see. I mean, they've done well in the Dutch league. And we'll just have to see. I can't say I know lots about him, but
I'm gonna. This is just. I work in a mental health hospital, and this is mental. Feyenoord this season, 123, drawn 6, lost 2, scored 80 goals, conceded 24. They're second in the Eres division. PSV Eindhoven, however, Dan, have won 27 games, drawn 3, lost 1, scored 103 goals, conceded only 17. 103 goals for, 17 against.
Yeah, I mean, they won 8. I just looked at it. I just Googled it. They won 8-0 yesterday. And then last Saturday, they won 6-0. So that's just mad. I mean, we played PSV this season. We tanked them 4-0 at home. We played them last season. They beat us in the second game in the group stage of the Europa, I think it was then. But I'm just looking at. I mean, they've got Luke de Jong. Used to play for Newcastle. Used to play for Sevilla, Dutch international. Quite a handy player. And I'm looking at the rest of their team. They got Dest, Genio Dest. I think he's quite a good defender. So yeah, we're just going off on. Oh, they do have a player from Crystal Palace from back in the day, a proper FPL asset from back in the day. Can you name him? He used to play for Sunderland as well, Dutch international.
Oh, Van Aanholt?
That's the one. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've just gone on a PSV.
Can someone click that I actually got a history question right with Dan? Okay, now.
So clearly they got a handy team, but yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's not proven in the Premier League, but clearly he plays an attacking side of football, likes to go for it. They took Ajax off the throne last season, and they won the Dutch Cup this season as well. So we will see. It'll be very interesting, but it'd be weird without Klopp. Send the least. I do like Klopp. And we'll just have to see how it goes next season.
Yeah, absolutely. So just quickly back to this Everton versus Brentford at home. Everton, I know, are pretty good. They are, well, I say that they're 15th in the table at home. 1-6, drawn 4, lost 7. Only scored 20, conceded 18. Last 3 home matches, though, they have won. Obviously, they beat Liverpool 2-0. They beat Nottingham Forest 2-0. They beat Burnley 1-0. Brentford away from home are, well, crap. They've won 4 games all season away from home, drawn 2, lost 11. They do score goals, though. They scored 25, conceded 29. Last 2 matches, they are unbeaten. Beat Luton 5-1. Drew with Aston Villa 3-3. But prior to that, they lost 4 on the spin. 2-1 against Burnley. 2-1 against Arsenal. 4-2 against West Ham. And 1-0 against Man City. I'm going to go with both teams to cancel each other out here. And I'm going to go with a 1-1, Dan.
Yeah, I've completely lost track of the game we're covering now. Sorry, because I just got so distracted going on about PSV. Which game are we talking about?
Just give us the scoreline. Everton versus Brentford.
Oh, this is a big game, Steve-O, for many people, and I can't believe there's Everton assets coming through in the last double game week. You know, some people had Pickford apparently. And but you know, Calvert-Lewin coming through. Brentford have picked up a bit of form recently. I think it'll be a decent game. Mopai obviously can't play. I'm gonna go 2-1 to Brentford.
Yeah, history is more in favour of Everton. Last 3, Everton are unbeaten. They've beaten Brentford 3-1, 1-0 and drew with them 1-1. That's the last 3 there. Then we come on to the evening fixture tomorrow. It's Aston Villa versus Chelsea. Aston Villa are chasing that 4th Champions League spot against the Chelsea team who, my understanding, is away from home. They don't do too bad. They don't do too bad away from home, which is where now I'm going to get proven wrong here. Away from home, Chelsea, 1-5, drawn 4, lost 7. So yeah, proven wrong. Although in the last 5 fixtures, they've only lost once, which was against you lot, which was the 5-0. Prior to that, it was 3 draws in a row: 2-2 against Sheffield United, 2-2 against Brentford, 1-1 against Man City. Whereas Aston Villa at home, we know they're an absolute formidable force. I think Aston Villa are going to cruise past Chelsea here. I'm going to go with I'll go 3-0 to Aston Villa, Dan.
Wow. I mean, I'm just looking on a famous sports site at the moment. Douglas Luiz is back after a 2-match ban. That's a big bonus for Aston Villa.
Massive.
And yeah, no, definitely. I mean, hopefully he'll be it's one of the players linked with us for next season. A very good player. But Cole Palmer's available, but Enzo Fernandez will miss the remainder of the season following groin surgery. Villa aiming for a 3rd consecutive win over Chelsea, it says here. But look, anyway, reading all these stats out, yeah, I think Villa are obviously going for top 4. Chelsea have got really nothing to play for. Chelsea's confidence is going to be low after the tanking by us. Sorry to mention that one more time. I think Villa will do them. I'm going to go 3-1 to Villa.
Are you aware we've been on air for over an hour and a half? It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm not sure that I've been on. Have I been? Because I joined you late, didn't I?
Well, you've been on for a minimum of an hour. The stream's been going on for an hour and a half. Ridiculous.
Well, hit the like button. What I say to people.
Moving on to Sunday, is your team at home. It's Bournemouth versus Brighton, the seaside derby. All the bees. I think Bournemouth are going to win this, Dan. I think that Brighton, they look like a shower of shite, to be completely frank. There was nothing that impressed you in 20 minutes, Steve-O, against one of the best teams in Europe. Yeah, that's right. Although Brighton do like to play Bournemouth. In the last 3, they've beaten them 3 times. 3-1, 2-0 and 1-0. The last time Bournemouth did beat Brighton was 3-1 on the 21st of January 2020. The goal scorers on that day, well, I'm not going to ask you, Dan, the goal scorers on that day, just for a bit of nostalgia, were Harry Wilson, a Pascal Gross own goal, and Callum Wilson and Dominic Solanke did get an assist that day. And do you know what? I like that scoreline, 3-1 from Bournemouth against Brighton. And do you know what? I'm going to go with that today. I'm going to go 3-1 to Bournemouth, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, Bournemouth have had a great season, staying up again. Really pleased that we've stayed up. So we, or my town have stayed up. But Brighton have got injuries, haven't they? Players out. I mean, Esputan, Ferguson, Sonny March, Matoma. Big players for Brighton, really. Let's be fair. And yeah, Brighton are a bit of an erratic team, to be honest with you. They've had some terrible results. They've had some good results this season. But I just fancy Bournemouth to do them. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a bit closer though. I'm gonna go 3-2 to Bournemouth.
Who the hell's scoring for Brighton? I haven't got any players. Anyway, talking of who's scoring.
Danny Welbeck will score.
There we are. Danny Welbeck to score. It is the North London derby. I'm assuming you were going down the pub. You're going down the pub.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And you'll be there screaming and shouting when Spurs score the first goal, because it's inevitable. That's exactly what's going to happen here. I do think, though, that you're going to win this quite comfortably, actually. I'm going... before we come on to you, I want to go for the history first, but I reckon it's going to be a comfortable 3-1 to you, Dan. At home, Tottenham are good. They don't draw any games. They've won 12, drawn none, conceded 4, lost 4, sorry. They've scored 34 goals, conceded 21. They've only lost once in the last 6, and that was against Wolves, 2-1. You lot away from home, you're top of the table. 11 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses, scored 39, only conceded 11. Haven't lost a single game in the last 6. In fact, you've drawn once, which was against Man City, 0-0. And the history on this particular fixture, in fact, without looking, Dan, do you know what the history is between, like, how many wins you've had over the last 6 fixtures, losses, etc.?
I mean, we haven't done so great away from home. I know we won last season, but the season before we got tanked 3-0. But our form at home against Spurs is a lot better. I mean, we drew 2-2 with them earlier in the season in a game that they played very well in. But we did the double over them last season. We found it difficult away from home against Spurs, but it's always going to be a tough game, because this is their cup final against us, and that they're fighting for top 4 still. Villa have got the advantage at the moment. It's a high pressure game for us, really. So I'm hoping that they play that high line so we can expose that. You know, we're on, apart from the Villa game, we're on good form coming into this under Bayern game, but it's going to be tough. This is the North London derby at this stage of the season. Son's got a great record against us, and that's a captaincy shout. I'm just hoping that we stick to the team that did so well on Tuesday. We stick to a winning formula. We don't change it around. We do what worked well before. We do what's worked well this season so far. We play the game. We don't play the occasion. I'm going to stick my neck on the line. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, ABJ's agreeing. A Colm thinking 3-1 as well, Arsenal. A BB Defender is saying here that the Everton-Brentford game is going to be 0-0. It's going to be a billion sideway passes. The game killed into oblivion. A point each way. Everyone's safe. Very, very good. Yeah, the history, like you said, Dan, last 6 fixtures, which includes a friendly where Tottenham beat you 1-0. But in the Premier League, Arsenal 3, Tottenham 1, Tottenham 3, Arsenal 0, Arsenal 3, Tottenham 1, Tottenham 0, Arsenal 2, Arsenal 2, Tottenham 2. So yeah, it's all over the place. Is really, but really, in the last 5 fixtures, you've only lost once. That's what you got to take away from that. You've only lost once. Yeah, Nottingham Forest versus Man City, Dan. I think this is just going to be just like they did against Brighton, to be honest. However, I do think Nottingham Forest score in this particular fixture, but I don't think it's going to matter here. A BB defender is saying that he's going to be benching Haaland for Nicholas Jackson in this particular fixture. Nottingham Forest record versus Man City reads as follows. Oh dear. 2-0 Man City. 1-1. There's a 1-1 in there, which happened last year on the 18th of February 2023.
Chris Wood.
Say it again.
Chris Wood got the equaliser.
Oh, there we are, Dan. Straight away with the history there. And we've also got another in fact, tell you what, Dan, Nottingham Forest do not... Oh, no, this dates back to 2001. Unfortunately. We got a 3-0 there to Nottingham Forest.
I was looking through this all last night. I was looking at Forest's home form this season in the Premier League. And to be fair, they haven't been turned over by anyone. I mean, Tottenham won 2-0 there back in December or something like that. But apart from that, there's been close games, losing 3-2 to Newcastle, 1-0 to Liverpool, 1-0 to United in the FA Cup, 2-1 to us. Been close run things. But, yeah, go on, you were saying.
Well, no, I was going to link that in. So, yeah, at home, they've won 5, drawn 5, lost 7, scored 25, conceded 25. Man City, I'm going to be stating the obvious here. I mean, they're just, again, not quite as good a home away record as you guys. Admittedly, they played one less game, but you scored 2 more goals than them away from home, but they've also conceded 7 more. So they've conceded 18, whereas you've only conceded 11. I think this is just going to be a comprehensive victory for Man City. I'm just going to go 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to make the case for it last night after Brighton's collapse. Now the hopes are on for Nottingham Forest to bring back their European Cup winning days and pull off a massive upset against a titan in Man City. But let's be real here. Forest, they're 17th in the league? I mean, they are battling against relegation, but I can't see anything but a Man City win tomorrow. City are on it. Foden's playing out of his skin. De Bruyne's back. Dare I say it, they're looking better without Haaland. And yeah, I don't think Forest will even score, actually. I'm going to go 2-0 Man City, professional job.
They've only lost. The only hope is that they've only lost once in the last 5 at home, which was 1-0 to Liverpool. Those wins, they won 2-0 against West Ham. They drew 1-1 with Crystal Palace, 3-1 against Fulham, 2-2 against Wolves. But again, these are all middling clubs. They're not the title challengers. And then finally, the weekends on bloody Thursday. Crying out loud! It's the 7:30 fixture. It is the final. This is the double game week, and this is the second game. It's Chelsea against Spurs. Dan, Chelsea, a team who have I don't know what the hell's going on in that club. To be honest, I don't even think their own club knows what's going on with the club. At home, though, they're not too bad. They've won 8, drawn 4, lost 4, scored 35, conceded 25. So lots and lots of goals in this game. They've lost 1 game in the last 6 at home, which was 4-2 against Wolves here. They beat Everton 6-0. They beat Man United 4-3. They drew with us 2-2. 3-2 win against Newcastle and 1-0 against Fulham. So that's the only anomaly, only winning 1-0 against Fulham. Apart from that, the last 5 games have been lots and lots of goals. Tottenham, on the other hand, again, they're involved in matches with lots and lots of goals. Won 6, drawn 6, lost 4, scored 31, conceded 28. The last 3 fixtures they haven't won. They lost 4-0 to Newcastle. They drew 1-1 with West Ham. They lost 3-0 against Fulham. Prior to that, they beat Aston Villa 4-0 in that complete freak of a game. 2-2 against Everton. and 2-2 against Man United. I think this has got lots and lots of goals involved in this. I think that Chelsea, because I just think that they've got, I know you're going to laugh, I just think they've just got a better strike force than Tottenham here. And I'm going to go with I think they're going to expose that high line, and I'm going to go with a 4. I was thinking 4-3, but I'm going to go 4-2, Dan, Chelsea.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, obviously Chelsea got the win last time, didn't they? In that crazy game earlier in the season. So it's a tough one to call, but Chelsea are at home, like you say, evening game. Pretty decent form at home, to be fair, on the results you just read out. Chelsea going to be right up for it. Spurs have got more to play for, though. That's the only thing. And they could hit them on the counter, but I'm going to go... sod it. I'm going to go 3-3-all.
Yeah, that game against Man City that ended 4-4, I wouldn't be surprised if it ended like that. In fact, the history does not suggest this at all. There's a lot of nils in there. Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0. Tottenham 0, Chelsea 1. Chelsea 2, Tottenham, Dan?
1.
0. I did say there's a lot of nils in here. Although this is the anomaly here. Chelsea 2, Tottenham 2. But we're back on it again, Dan. Tottenham 2, Chelsea
0.
Yeah. And then, of course, that game where it ended 4-1 to Tottenham, where Tottenham had 2 players sent off. Can you remember who those 2 players were, Dan? Because I don't have a fucking clue.
It was the... let me just think. Was it Porro?
I can't even see. No, it was the other one.
The
one that's out for the season.
No, can't remember. I know.
He's out for the season. He's on the opposite side to Porro.
I can't remember.
Came from Milan, I think.
I can't remember.
If I was to say Destiny's Child, would that help? People are screaming.
Beyonce?
Yeah, it's Destiny's Child, Beyonce. Udogi.
Really?
Yeah, fucking hell, Dan. I thought I was tired. Yeah, it was.
We would have finished by 20 past 9.
I was hoping we'd be finished by 8:30, mate. But Romero was the first player sent off.
Yes, Romero, yeah.
Yeah, and then Cole Palmer with a penalty in that game. Jackson with a hat trick there. And there we bloody have it. Bloody hell. I can't believe how long this stream's been gone for. It's absolutely great. I really, really do appreciate everybody sticking around and watching and whatnot. Just a quick reminder, my team this particular game week, Dan, is going to be Pickford in goal, Muniz, Gabriel, Ain't Nuri. I'm probably bringing in Johnson for Eze. We then have Palmer, Son captain. It's going to be Havertz, Saka, along with Isaac and Solanke up top. Who are you thinking of captain in this game week, Dan?
I mean, there's a few options, isn't there? Palmer, Son, the obvious candidates, really, with a double game week. So I guess it will be a toss-up between those two, really. In terms of single game week players, you could make an argument for Fernandez or Isaac. So I'm going to have to give that one some thought, actually. I'm going to sleep on that one.
Don't
at least hope.
Cut, in the words of Ricky Gervais, cut the shit. You're going to be captaining a double game week player.
There's lots of options, Steve. Like I just said, there's single game week players.
Just to clarify, Fernandez a player who you think is going to be involved in a loss to Burnley is an option?
Of course, he's an option because he's in great form at the moment. So, of the single game week players, Fernandes is a nice differential captaincy option for anyone looking to chase a rival in the mini league that they take very seriously. Isaac's also a great option for Newcastle up against Sheffield United at home. We know how it goes with double game week sometimes. The single game week players can outperform them. So I'm just giving a breadth of options for people to consider whilst keeping my cards relatively close to my chest.
There we are. That's Dan's. Oh my god, I'm done. The poll results. How many double game week players will you have this week? 21% saying 1 to 2, 21% saying 2 to 3, 21% saying 3 to 4. No joke, that's what it says there. And then 38% are going to have 4 plus. God, can we get the hell out of here, Dan? Why have people not even liked this stream? Tell them what they should be doing, Dan. God almighty.
Guys, if you're listening in now, if you're watching now, we've been here for nearly 2 hours on a Friday evening.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, that's actually true.
Dark Friday evening, bringing you all the entertainment, all the random stats, all the random tangents and trivia, giving you all the information you need to absolutely crush this double game week 35. So all you need to do is like the stream, comment on the stream, and show your love.
Actually, that's a good point. Commenting on the stream afterwards, great idea. Let's set people a challenge. Comment on the replay who you're captaining, and what your transfers are. I'm not going to reply to any of it. Dan, you will, Dan, won't you?
No, I won't. I'll just copy the captaincy choice that I like the best and the teams.
Well, I'm going to find out who Mr. Reed's captaining, and I'm probably going to do the opposite because he told me he was going to captain in Salah last week, and I said I've just changed it to Salah, and if I'd have just left it on Eze, I'd have been 11 points better off.
Thank God you didn't do that.
Yeah. Here's Yelena. Thank you. Hello, Fozzie. I don't know why you've joined us late for. Like Dan said, as ever, if you're brand new around here and you've enjoyed the stream, make sure you're hitting the subscribe button. The next time we're back will be Sunday, won't it, Dan?
Sunday evening, yes.
Sunday evening, where you will be. I can't wait for this because you will be reacting live to the London Derby. So Dan will be reacting live to what happens in the London Derby. You never know, Ray may even join us on Discord. He's another passionate Arsenal fan. Speaks a lot of. In fact, I did say to Ray that you and him are very, very similar, genuinely, when it comes to talking Arsenal. So I'm hoping Ray can join on Sunday Surgery. If not, though, as ever, we'll be seeing you on Sunday Surgery. Guess when? On Sunday, reacting to everything. There won't be any Saturday night reaction because obviously there's the Aston Villa versus Chelsea game. Other than that, I'm getting out of here. I want to go to bed. I want to watch Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. See you later, Dan. Cheers all.
Cheers, everyone.